Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know where you are, and because of the internet, you could be anywhere in the world. I'm just gonna, for my, for my own enjoyment, just imagine every person in the world is hearing this, is hearing me speak into a microphone, into my phone, to throw up into the bottomless black hole space vacuum that is the internet, that is created by invisible waves moving through the fucking atmosphere, you know, which, sounds crazy in one, but absolutely not crazy because, like, that's how everything kind of moves. Like, shit. Like, sound, can't really see sound. You breathe invisible shit. You speak invisible shit. You hear invisible shit. Like, it's a lot of shit that's invisible. You know what I'm saying? That we're not necessarily privy to, but we can feel. And so when we increase and deepen our awareness, we can feel them. We can be aware of them. On a much deeper level. Like, we can engage our nervous system on a much deeper level than most people are aware of because their heart is out of rhythm with the natural rhythm of the universe. And so, things like meditation. Yeah, I recommend meditation. Like, I don't really recommend anything else. Like, for the most part, like, if you want to, like, cure all whatever, like meditation, and I recommend sitting meditation, especially to start off with, because there's just like to focus your energy in stillness is very powerful. Of course, whatever works for you, walking meditation, moving meditation, but it's just we're so used to moving and we're so used to using momentum and physical movement to distract ourselves from our feeling. I think just sitting and focusing on your heartbeat, focusing on your breath. And eventually, like, I'm at the point in my meditation journey where it's like my practice is like letting go of breathing and just like trying to listen to my heart or feel my heart more accurately. But it's like letting go of even feeling like I have to breathe a certain way or breathe in certain patterns and like absolute trust and surrender to my nervous system that was created by a higher power and a curiosity about how does my body want to breathe? Being led by my body, rather than my mind trying to control it or make myself breathe a certain way. But even saying that, sometimes I might do like breath holds after exhales still on purpose in order to reach a certain level of concentration or reach a certain level of relaxation that allows me to let go of breathing because you do need to get into a space of relaxation. Um, but I've been meditating for some years now. Like, if you're just starting out, there's a lot of misconceptions about meditation and things of that nature. And like, it's not about being better or worse. It's not about sitting just still as hell, like, you know what I'm saying, awkwardly, stiffly. Like, it's really about relaxation. It's really about curiosity and increasing your awareness and tuning into a nervous system that we have been taught to ignore um, for a long time, you know. But speaking of things that are invisible, let's get to what I actually wanted to talk today, which is white supremacy and capitalism. Um, you know, I don't have any like notes or talks. This is why these recordings are so like wide ranging and all over the place. And hopefully they flow naturally in a way that is understandable and that feels authentic to me, and you guys can feel the authenticity as well. But the thing about white supremacy and capitalism is that it sees human beings as tools for profit. And just because white is in front of supremacy does not mean that it does not also use white people as tools for profit. White supremacy uses white people maybe as the main tool to maintain a capitalistic system that is willing to hurt the majority of people to enrich the minority. With white, quote unquote, like whatever the fuck that means, white, some amorphous term that they just made up at some point in time in order to clearly delineate between lighter skinned people and darker skinned people in order to create a permanent underclass, which is necessary for capitalism to work. White might be the in group, in a societal level, but at the same time, there's still classism. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's still a hierarchy of white within white. You know what I'm saying? There are multiple hierarchies, like within just white people, you could say classism, and then within everybody, there is classism and colorism, racism. And you can't separate any of these things from each other. You can't separate race from class, class from race, class from sex, race from sex. All these things that's why they talk about intersectionality of the isms and things of these nature. Um, so this is, one of my more salient points, I feel like, is that white supremacy is using white people as a tool to keep white people poor. Like, it's not just about white supremacy using white people to keep minorities, quote unquote, in their place. White supremacy is also being used by elites to keep white people in their place. To ensure that there is a sense of disconnection between the human race that allows discriminatory practices to happen and, frankly allow just like a lot of bullshit conversations to take place that you think that any person with common sense in the year of our Lord 2025 would not even be entertaining these kind of petty bullshit uh like discussions. They're not even discussions. They're just like dumb arguments between like elite people who are interested in keeping the status quo, which is the majority of people poor and the minority of people rich, and willing to step on people and hurt them in order to get rich. And white people, all people, but within the system of white supremacy, it's interesting to see how are white people being used as pawns to ensure their own destruction. And in the process, if one part of society is getting destroyed, the whole of society is going to get destroyed. Because you can't operate a healthy, sustainable society in that manner. Like, if we consider society to be like a body, a human body, and we consider different humans to be like organs or limbs or something like that, if one organ is not working, is getting demolished by toxins and everything like that, the body's not going to work. The whole body's not going to work. Whether in this analogy for the sustainable and healthy and beneficial travel of energy, energy travels the same way no matter where it's found in the universe. That means in your individual body, that means within your community, that means in your society that's larger, like a country, that means in the universal body. If there is stagnant, toxic, unhealthy energy in any part of your community, then your community, your society, your body cannot reach its optimal health. And that's just like a fact. Like that's science for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we see whether it be physical science in regards to the body, it's also social science. You know, you create an underclass of people who realize that they're being treated unjustly. You know, you have uprisings, you have rebellions, you have revolutions, you have what people really should care about is like you have poverty, you have unhealthy humans who are part of the human race, unable to get a fair chance at developing their talent that could be developed in order to make the whole of the human race better, to create things that only this person who is unique in the span of history, only this person could create this thing based on their experiences, their intelligence, their talent. But we have, I hate to say we, but the world in the U.S., I live in the U.S., you know, has uh, codified a calcified and ancient destructive system. It is an inherently a destructive system. And there's no way to get around that fact. You know, the fact that the wealthiest country on earth has so many poor people, has so many sick people, has so many people who are depressed, so many people who are going through mental health issues, physical health issues. People are looking at this from a frame of reference that has been implanted in their mind, or if you don't like the word implanted, that's like too woo woo for you. They have been propagandized by media, or they just have normalized a level of unhealthiness in themselves and in society and in the world that is frankly not normal. It's not normal. It is not, and it's not human nature. Like, people acting like these acts of depravity and these acts of pain and hurt and all these things that we see in the world are human nature is not true. What has happened is uh, selfish people, selfish, narcissistic, um, people caught in ignorance, people who are themselves suffering and have turned their suffering into a desire for control and power of others, no matter how they get it. So people have turned their suffering into excuses for themselves to cause other people suffering. And then another excuse is like, oh, this is just the way the world works. This is just how it is. People hurt people. I get hurt. I hurt others, blah, blah, blah. That is a decision. You know, ultimately is a personal choice. Now, it might be a personal choice that you are unconscious of, but once made aware of how your actions hurt another person, you are supposed to change. But the fucked up thing is we are so deep in this illusion that we are meant to cause pain to others. We are meant to be hurt ourselves. That people don't change because they're like, oh, this is just how it is, which is bullshit. It's frankly like, what the fuck, bro? Like, come on now. Like, it's crazy to me the amount of people that sit there and like, I used to be this way because like I said, implanted, normalized, whatever you want to say. You grow up in an environment, unless you are blessed to have mentors or people there who can put you onto a better path, a more beneficial framework of humanity and seeing the world. You will sit there, people will sit there and make excuses for people's pain. They'll make excuses for corporations having more rights than a human does. They'll make excuses for people dying, people getting hurt, people being sick, people being poor. And it's like, thank God that I would say there's a level of humility that I have, or maybe critical thinking, both, like critical thinking skills to be like, you know what, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if, because my value, even though I was ignorant on a lot of topics, my value was always that like people don't really deserve to like be hurt. People don't really deserve to struggle. People don't really deserve to suffer. And my understanding of that is way deeper today. So it's like I no longer make the certain excuses like, oh, those people deserve to go through that, or that people deserve that, and these people like I don't use dualistic logic of right and wrong to say these people decide that are allowed to hurt and these people aren't allowed to hurt because I don't have that jurisdiction, you know. And I think that it's ignorant, and I think that there's a complete difference between like defending yourself and then attacking others to like get like pre self defend yourself. It's like you're not forced to defend yourself, but because you have a negative view of life and you're scared and you're afraid, you're like, I'm gonna hurt these other people before they can hurt me. And it's like they weren't even thinking about you, like, you know. And there's like now people are like some of the richest people in the world, the most privileged people in the world, they think in a survival mode mindset, and they have passed this survival mode mindset onto the world because they have the resources to be able to do it, and this mindset actively enriches them and allows them to gain more power and resources the more people that also subscribe to these fucked up ways of seeing life and these fucked up ways of being. So, you know, ultimately it's like it's not human nature to operate that way. And it's insidious, and it's like the idea that society makes sense is interesting because you can approach it from like multiple angles. You can say, okay, people are seeing what's going on in the government and all the pain and the suffering and the hurt and everything like that. They're like, this makes no sense. How can our society allow this to happen? On the other hand, if you have a different uh, uh, perspective on society and its end goal, the former group, they think that society's end goal is that everybody has a chance for success, everybody's healthy, everybody does that. So when you have that framework of government is good, you know, things don't make sense to you because you see so many bad things happen caused by the government. But if you have another framework of the government and another framework of society and hierarchies and institutions, what are these things in place for? And you don't think they're in place for good. You think they're in place for oppression, eliminating class mobility, reinforcing discrimination, the consolidation of resources amongst the hands of the few. If you have that framework of society, then everything that's going on makes sense to you. If you think that policy decisions, no matter on what level, local, state, national, if policy decisions are always supposed to lead to the benefit of the people, the increasing of liberties in a healthy way, the increasing of the mental and physical health of the population, if those are your values, and you see that society consistently and historically makes decisions that go against these tenets for the majority of people, or even a minority group of people, then you understand there's no way for you to hold the idea that the government is not doing these things on purpose. You know, these are literally historical policy decisions that you can see in the historical record that have caused a lot of the chaos that we're seeing today. Now, there is uh, some of it probably wasn't done on purpose, you know, but a lot of it was. You know, some consequences were unforeseen, like you try to do something good and unfortunately something bad happens out of it. But because of so many unscrupulous actors making decisions, the majority of decisions have not necessarily been made to help the majority of people. Because it's like in your personal journey, in your personal life, if you have a habit of doing good things, a habit of doing positive things, a habit of always making decisions with good and pure intentions, then bad things happening is always an aberration and increasingly is going to become rarer and rarer. But if you consistently do things with misled intentions from the ego in an attempt to gain control, to gain power, to take over other people's life and force life to do things or give things to you, and it fucks up your mindset, then of course, like, you have a habit of having poor intentions and poor things are going to happen. So a lot of times people are trying to use specific small examples of good things happening to act like the habit of the government making decisions that does not work for the majority of people is not real. And these people are either ignorant or they're trying to get you comfortable with you getting fucked over, you know? And so we really have to examine the mindset and the framing of society. Like, me as a black man, it's very easy for me to understand that, like, I'm not one of these people like, oh my God, this is not my America. I can't believe that America is doing this and all this is going on. What happened to freedom in America? Like, I understand what was going on during the civil rights movement. I also understand what was going on during the Great Depression, during Japanese internment camps, during yellow propaganda against Chinese people, what was happening with sharecroppers, what was happening in the Civil War, what happened when they pulled up on the Native Americans. No learned person who actually pays attention and cares about the majority of people and who is not sleepwalking through life and sleepwalking through the rat race should be able to sit here and say that they are surprised by the natural end result of unscrupulous actors in the government being allowed to do fucked up shit, to make fucked up rules, to put these policy decisions in place that hurt people. You cannot be an informed person and expect to be taken seriously when you say, I can't believe this is happening. Everything happens for a reason. We didn't just get dropped off in the present moment. Like, there's a uninterrupted flow of time from the beginning of history to right now. To act like we are not, as a nation, as a world, as individual people, reaping the consequences of seeds that have been sown in the past, it's not true. It is factually untrue, And so, even if, let's say on an individual level, talking about karma, talking about consequences, having to take responsibility for your actions. Just because you were unaware or unconscious of what you were doing at the time, or even if you were in a situation where you thought you were powerless, you were unaware that you had choices. You were unaware that you had that freedom is a responsibility, that freedom is a choice, and freedom is available. Even in these instances, you made decisions that you have to bear the consequences of. You know what I'm saying? That is not saying you're at fault, that you're to blame, because saying blaming is an egotistical way of centering yourself or centering someone else in a uncentered universe, but we must take responsibility. We must understand that we have influence over what happens in our lives. And so it's like we have to say, even if we did not do this on purpose, even if whatever happened, taking responsibility, being mature enough to be aware that my actions, the way I showed up in that present moment, had an effect on the next present moment. You literally made a decision or did something or didn't do something, how you want to go, that changed the course of time, that changed the course of history, whether you were aware of it or not. That's why the journey to enlightenment, the journey of becoming enlightenment, is increasing your awareness in the present moment so you can do things that you believe are beneficial instead of falling back on habits that are not beneficial, like being numb, feeling powerless, feeling like you don't have a choice, worrying about things outside of your control. It's just able, in order to direct your karma in a more positive direction, you increase your awareness so you can increase your self-agency. And that's part of enlightenment, increasing your self-agency to the point where you are constantly in the present moment, being in the present moment, and trusting yourself to make beneficial decisions, trusting your instincts, trusting your nervous system to do the best that it can in the present moment. And that's why letting go is a core tenet of every belief system. Letting go of the idea that you're in control. A higher power is always in control, no matter what name you want to put on it or how you portray it. A higher power is in control, so you can let go of fear, let go of worry, because things are out of your hands, and you can focus on making the best decisions that you can make in the present moment as guided by a higher power, you know. And so when you see people using a higher power in order to make violent, vile, disgusting decisions, these people are not spiritual people, you know. They are not truly religious people. They are using religion as a tool to secure power, to cover up their ego. They see religion through the lens of their ego. Say, I'm going to subscribe to this religious belief system because it's going to give me the power to do whatever I want, no matter how bad it is, and feel like I have an excuse for it. They use it to run away from accountability for the fact that they are free to choose. Oh, God made me do it. God made me do this, blah, 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 blah. God didn't make you do shit. Like, it's bullshit. In a large chunk of history, all of history has been shaped by people doing evil acts in a higher power's name. Evil, egotistical acts in the higher power's name. So they could secure more resources and shit for themselves. It's really stupid. Like, it's really dumb. Like, the fact that we even, like, I just thank God that, like, I'm just way more informed and empathetic and compassionate. Like, the idea that at any point in time I was propagandized to make excuses for, like, this system of, you know, you call it government, but it really is a system of ownership. It is like a bureaucratic and very fancy way of remaining masters of as many people as possible in a self-perpetuating system where they feel like the illusion of freedom within a society, speaking about society on an individual level, we all do have freedom in the present moment, which just means that we have a choice to make no matter how big or small that is. But within the wider context of a society, by providing the illusion of freedom, by providing the illusion that the government and corporations and all this are on your side, that they're actually doing good things for you rather than slowly bleeding you to death, fooling you with concepts like trickle down economics and things of that nature, and then these huge companies owning the media in order to put a positive spin and positive portrayal on what they do and how they show up in the act, positive portrayals of corporations, negative portrayals of individual humans, showing crime, showing people doing messed up stuff, blah, 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 blah. Then they use the media to propagandize you into believing a false narrative that they are doing what's better for society, and it is only the individual human actors who are doing messed up things. And even if a corporation gets outed for doing something bad, oh, it's just that specific corporation. It's not the system. It's not the whole way of doing business, of putting profit over people, of constantly using exploitative measures to relate to the majority of people. That's not the issue. So it's just BS. That's why, like, for every person, it is very important to have a truly spiritual practice. Like a truly spiritual practice, not a fake, I'm carrying my ego, I'm using it to prop up my ego and sense of self, like the prosperity gospel, like, oh, the better Christian I am, or in the more blessed I am, that shows that I'm touched by God. Like, keep God out of y'all bullshit. That's what I'm saying. Keep God out this human fuckery. Y'all putting bad juju on God, and I don't like it. It confused me for the longest time. I was separated by God because the people from God, because the people around me putting bad juju on God's name, on the higher power, the source. I like to call it the source because I feel like that is a word and a concept that everybody can immediately grasp to and understand. Whereas God is, the term for a higher power from my childhood. I grew up in the black church, you know what I'm saying? And it turned me away from God. I'm like, man, all these like fucking weirdos, and my family's not happy, and these people not happy, and I always see them doing weird stuff. Which is why, once you get to a certain level of like spirituality, you stop judging, because you're like, the source judges, or the source probably doesn't judge, but it's like, I don't judge. Like, because the source probably don't judge neither. Like, it's letting you rock. It's letting you be free. And then once you let go and trust in the source, it starts giving you little hints. You know what I'm saying? Or when you're going the wrong way, it's trying to give you little hints to be like, nah, that's not it. It's not it, bro. You might need to make a move the other way. Or like, the source speaks to us through our nervous system, through our instincts, through our intuitions. And if you have an infinite amount of choices to make in life, if you're familiar with math terms, like an asymptote, it's like, okay, this line or graph goes on forever in this direction. And it can be, if that line or graph is made of infinite decisions, always coming back to your gut instinct or what your heart tells you as your decision making, rather than trying to be a perfectionist and make sense of man-made society and dualistic logic, which changes every year, every 10 years. Like, what used to be good in the 50s is not good today. What used to be good in the 2000s is not good today. So it's not really an accurate way to consistently make decisions. If you go with your instinct every time, you're probably going to end up in a better place than trying to make sense of all this nonsensical bullshit that people make up whenever they want to, and manipulate the words and the ideas and concepts in an egotistical way to gain power and resources. You might as well go with your gut. Like, you might as well follow your heart, like, consistently. That's not being dumb or anything like that. That is like Okay, if you follow your heart, that means you still get to be aware and cognizant of the ideas and concepts, the man-made shit, like what's going on in society, societal trends, economic trends, whatever, whatever. But within that context, you get to follow your gut and follow your instinct in order to make a decision that actually feels right to you versus making a decision that you're trying to convince yourself is right. It's a totally different energy between those two states of being. So everybody, but especially people from marginalized groups, especially people that are have went through things in their life, have been victim of things. You need a spiritual practice to let go of control, to believe in a higher power, to take your power back, take your personal power. People don't realize letting go of controlling life from the ego allows you to actually take your personal power back because you exit the egotistical competition that society wants you to be in, and that you are wasting your energy. Having a chip on your shoulder, feeling like you have to prove yourself to people, feeling like you're always being judged, those things take away your energy. And your energy is your life currency. It's literally your life energy. If you are wasting energy worrying about people judging you or proving people this or doing stuff right, that's energy that you cannot use to, that's energy you're not using to perform to the best of your ability. Wherever our attention goes, our energy goes. And if you're putting your attention on these things that society tells you you should care about, if you are attached to outside validation and you put your attention on receiving outside validation, part of your energy is not being used to perform to the best of your ability because you're always performing for the reason of satisfying someone else. What does it look like when you put on a performance that satisfies you? What does it look like when you put on a performance and you listen to your heart and you let go of what it looks like, what it sounds like, how it appears to others, and you focus on the feeling that you produce within yourself? And it's always, whether it be music, whether it be movies, whether blah, 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 it is the feeling that an individual produces that actually makes other people feel like the performance was better on the highest level of these things. But it's not even about other people. It's not even about them thinking your performance was better. It's about you literally injecting more of your feeling, more of your nervous system, more energy, more of your muscles, more of your breath, more of all of you, what makes you you scientifically, spiritually, whatever, into the present moment. So I just want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to be healthy. I want everybody to be free. I want everybody to be liberated. And in order to do that, we need to understand that these things are happening in our society for a reason. It's not existing in a vacuum. There's historical through lines and historical patterns that allow us to understand the present moment and what is going on. And that is on a societal level and an individual level. We can recognize patterns in ourselves. We can recognize patterns in our reactions, our emotional reactions, what happens to us. We can recognize patterns in our breathing. We can recognize patterns in our eating. And we can heal on a personal level. We can become personally liberated. In the personal liberation, letting go of control and allowing peace and ease and effortlessness to be the habit you cultivate in the place that you come back to as much as possible. That's the best contribution you can make to the human race because it's the best contribution you make to yourself. You can follow your calling, that benefits you and benefits other people. And a wave of benefit can start with you, but it starts with you. And it starts with letting go, changing your belief system, finding a spiritual practice, finding a truly religious practice would never, whatever religion it goes through is a spiritual practice. That's why people can have very spiritual ways of being through religion. But you can also relate to religion from your ego, from a sense of restriction. Religion should be liberating. Religion should be using certain rules and guidelines to get you to let go of suffering, to let go of the desire for control, because you have absolute trust in the higher power, which gives you absolute trust in yourself, because you are a manifestation of the higher power's energy, just in this bodily form. So like I I rock with Buddhism. But in my journey through Buddhism, it has allowed me to have a deeper understanding of what I always believed was that religion is man's attempt to explain the unexplainable, and that's fine. Stories are awesome. Like, you use stories, real and fake, in order to teach lessons. And it's about the lessons. It's not about did this really happen? Did this not really happen? Like, who cares? Like, what did you learn from it? Did what you learned from it make you a better person? Does it make you more ably show up right now for yourself and others? My personal beliefs is that when based on spirituality, science, whatever, is like when humans came into being, whether you say evolution or we were dropped off, I don't really give a fuck. But like when we first showed up, we did not have language, we did not speak words, we could not write, we could not tell stories, whatever you want to say. We were just here. And so my personal thing is there's a space and a place where we existed beyond words. We did not have words, but we were still able to live. We were still able to communicate. We were still able to evolve. So I am not going to subscribe to any specific religious belief system. I'm not going to say one is better than the other, one over the other, blah, 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 like that, because they all originate in the same place. They all come back to the same place, the same source, the same oneness, the same higher power. When we couldn't write these things down, when we couldn't have all the rest of the shit seems petty to me. Just do whatever works for you. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to be caught by words and ideas and concepts. If nirvana is freedom from all ideas and concepts, that means all ideas and concepts. And you can find nirvana through religious belief systems, but that's just not what me personally that I'm into, because I see the through line between religion, science, spirituality, whatever hell you want to call it. Like, I see the connection between all of those things. So for me, I feel like it would be hypocritical for me to pick one or the other and say this is right, this is wrong, blah blah blah. I think they're all right in an ultimate sense, but in a relative sense, I could say that maybe individual religious belief systems, they have practices that I believe can actually get you closer to the higher power in a more effective way than another religious belief system. Like this religious belief system, in a relative sense, has better rules and rituals and guidelines to get you to the right place versus this other one. But then at the same time, that's a dualistic judgment that the other one might work better for somebody. They might need less rules and guidelines and rituals and blah, blah, blah and everything like that. And that's my bias saying this one makes more sense than this one to me. Because ultimately they all make sense. They all trying to lead you to the same place. So the fact that people use these religious belief systems as a way to discriminate and to excuse hurting people and to excuse hurting themselves, like looking down on themselves. Like, think God or the higher power created you to look down on yourself? That shit don't make no damn sense. That had to be made up by some dude, some man who was like, yeah, I need some way to force these people to listen to me because I'm insecure. You know what I'm saying? I want power. You know what I'm saying? Instead of seeing everybody as equals, like, and there's a difference in a guru or a preacher or a teacher who tells you you need to listen to them and who liberates you to listen to yourself in the higher power. And we should be trying to listen to people who tell you to liberate yourself and listen to the higher power. And I'm just saying what worked for me, sharing my experience. And hopefully I'm the same as you. You need a teacher, you need a leader, you need a guru who sees both of you as equals. They just might have more lessons or more wisdom or more insight or been on the path longer or whatever, whatever. But no matter that, no matter their amount of wisdom, they should see both of you as equals. And the fucked up thing about our society is that people are always trying to come up with ways, hierarchies, institutions, titles, degrees, blah, 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 in order to not see them and other people as equals. Because I have this title, you're not equal to me. Because I have this degree, you're not equal to me. Because I know this, you're not equal to me. That people have excused people look for reasons to not be humble, to look down on you, to not listen to other people. Feel like I don't have time to listen to them. They're not worth listening to. They're not this, they're not that, blah, 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 blah. And it's bullshit. Well, I feel this is a good place to end this. But yeah, man, be happy, bro. Like, let go, man. Like, fuck is we gonna do? All we can do is what we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, like shit. I'm in the process. I'm trying to trust my instinct better too. Like, I'm trying to trust my gut. You know what I'm saying? Shit. If you look at it, you can look at it from a grounded perspective. Or you can look at it like shit is always up in the air. Like, oh my God, this is confusing. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where I'm going. Blah, blah, blah. Fundamentally, you cannot predict the future. But it's like we keep allowing ourselves to predict the future. So, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen in my life. I don't know what's going to happen. I can have visions. I can have plans. I can have this. But if you listen to wisdom from older people, they're like, yeah, I had a plan. That shit ain't work. Yeah, I had this other plan. That shit would work. Actually, my plan fucked up, and actually, in the long run, was better for me, and blah, blah, blah. So, like, letting go of predictions, letting go of trying to see the future, and just being right here, right now, and understanding that the future is right here, right now. You know what I'm saying? What are you doing right here, right now? That's shaping you, who you are, your growth, like, all that shit. So, hope you guys have an excellent day. Hope you guys, rock out in life. And let go, man. Like, allow your nervous system to relax, bro. Like, drop your shoulders, unhinge your jaw, you know what I'm saying? Feel the breath coming in and out of your nostrils. Unleash the tension in your lower abdomen and your hips. Like, feel your feet grounded on the ground. Like, the muscles in the bottom of your feet relax. Unlock your knees. You know what I'm saying? Like, trust your nervous system that was created by the higher power. You know what I'm saying? Like, trust your instincts. Let go of trying to force yourself to stay in one spot. Force yourself to hold yourself together. Like, because it's bullshit. All right, man. Enjoy yourself.